know I haven't been posting the past 2 weeks, and that's for a very good reason. Okay, I have been interviewing for two different jobs, and I signed the offer for one of them. Not only did I get the amount that I wanted, but it surpassed that amount. So I think I'm making 34% increase from my other salary now. I know I'd shared a video about asking for my first raise. That video was actually in December. It's now March, but things have transpired in the best way. I was originally making 55 an hour as a consultant, which was a bit of a pay cut I took to have that flexibility as a consultant. I've also never been a consultant before, wanted to know what that was like, wanted to work at a large corporation, also understand what that would be like to have more of a massive impact at scale compared to working at a small startup or medium-sized company. I also gotten rejected from the company that I really thought I wanted to work at because they said I didn't have large corporation experience. So that was also a big factor in taking the role at where I used to work. Well, I still work there. I asked for 65 an hour, so $10 raise, which would have been like, I guess, 20% of a pay raise. I had compiled all my wins into my brag doc, and it's very clear from the data alone, like it was what I deserved. And this is based on the fair market. I had a friend who does salary comparisons to help other companies like determine what the fair market rate is for a role in its company. And yeah, I felt like it was very fair. My manager at the time also felt like it was very fair, or honestly that I deserved more. But unfortunately, like they weren't able to give me more. They gave me the 59 hour, so $4 raise, which crazy how things worked out. After the AI work that I had done, my manager wanted to convert me to full time, and actually got an offer. I went through that interview process. I got an offer for the max that they could give me was 125, and then I'd also interviewed with another company which more aligned with my long-term goals of wanting to be in AI, using AI and building actual business solutions for people, just closer to the business side of things where there's more of a direct impact. That's where I see my career headed. And honestly, that's where I find the most enjoyment, fulfillment in this career. And I was able to get them to give me 140. So very happy with that. Yeah, so the universe doesn't always give you what you want. Maybe it thinks that you deserve more. Right, Coda? I also just finished Quantum Leap Challenge, which if you don't know what quantum leaping is, I'll share this podcast by Kim. She's the one that I did the challenge with. I love her podcast, the Claim Your Power podcast. I think I've talked about it a few times before, but her podcast has really allowed me to step into more of the spiritual side of myself and really connect. But essentially what quantum leaping is, you're shifting realities into a higher timeline of yourself. And what it consists of is 8 minutes of visualization meditation in the morning when your subconscious mind is the most receptive to change and new beliefs. So that is the best time to reprogram your mind and your brain and how you think and view the world and your beliefs and all of that. And that's what I would do as soon as I wake up. I do the 8 minutes of visualization meditation with Kim. It's guided. So she's talking the whole time and you're like visualizing this higher timeline, higher version of yourself, what that looks like, what it feels like, and really allowing yourself to step into that new identity. And then you do journaling after, and then after you'll journal 5 to 8, 10 things that you're grateful for of the person that you want to be, but you write it as if it's already happened, like it already exists. And so I was writing about receiving a full-time offer with benefits that align with my personal goals, PTO, and being able to go on vacation this year because I am planning to travel to Asia. Been a 5-year goal of mine and Peter's to travel to Vietnam, and now we're also going to be going to Korea in July with our friends. So I'm super excited about that. Needed a job that would align with my goals of traveling. That was really important to me, not so much the salary. Like I was okay and comfortable with 120, 130, but again, the universe gives you what you deserve, and it's very clear that mommy deserves more, right? That was a really big one. And then you do activation after to activate it. This is honestly, I really enjoy it. When I first started doing these, I did feel a little uncomfortable. Some of the things are like laugh for 30 seconds out loud to reset your nervous system, or raise your shoulders to your ears and then drop them 3 times, or get up and dance to a song that makes you, that you would dance to once you've achieved a thing that you want. So like things like that, super cute. Other things were like looking in the mirror and telling yourself, I'm open to receiving. So that's what I've been up to the past 2 weeks. And then we've also had friends in town that we were hosting. We went to Goldie's barbecue. It was okay. It was highly rated. I mean, it still is. It's on the Michelin guide. Honestly, I just wouldn't really recommend it. We really enjoyed it when we went October 2024, but going this time, it just wasn't the same. The Lao sausage was completely different. Like it was bigger, like an American sausage. And then the aromatics just weren't there. It was very gentrified, which I personally hate when places do that. You will not believe what Coda just did. Okay, I left. This is my fault for leaving my food out. But that little second that he left us, he went and I came out and I saw a noodle coming out of his mouth. So disappointed. This is the first time that he's ever eaten my food that I've left out. I used to brag about him and how good he was with the command that we taught him to leave it. This time he had no self-control. He just went for it. Anyway, though, that interview process and how I got them to give me 20,000 more than what they originally had capped the role at, and moved really fast. I'm talking like 2 days I got an offer. I can make a separate video on that if anyone wants. I feel like I've become a master interviewer and I have so many tips and tricks that I might even write like a blog post or something that I can share with you guys. On that topic of food, we had really good omakase last night. It was Peter and I's 5-year anniversary, and he took us to Shoyo, which was amazing. Incredible food. I think the experience could have been better. I personally have had better experiences with other chefs at omakase. A big part of omakase that Peter and I really love is that it's chef's choice. So they hand select the menu and the course for you. And I did feel at Shoyo that every dish was so cohesive and really was in alignment with one another throughout the entire 19 courses, which is probably the most that we've had. It was also the most expensive. It was $190 per person, not including tip or anything. So while I felt that the course itself was really good, hot, cold, acidic, savory, like just blended really well, there were some dishes that we thought could be better. For example, this dish, this was monkfish liver, which was really amazing with that caramelization on top. That really was a big factor in making the liver pop, 'cause otherwise it would have just tasted like liver, which is very one note. So I thought the caramelization was genius, but then adding this assortment of vegetables, especially the way that it was cut and plated, just didn't feel like omakase. But the nigiris were all amazing, especially the squid. That was the most tender cut of squid I've ever had, where it felt like a even more delicate than a tartare. It just was so buttery and melted in your mouth, and I've never had squid do that for me before. So that was my favorite and also Peter's favorite. And we also really liked the Fuji sake, the salmon. The color of the salmon was just the most beautiful color of red that I've seen. I don't think it's a red. It's not a salmon color either. I don't know what color to describe it, but most salmon that you see is like on the darker orangey reddish or bright pink color. This salmon was amazing. It didn't taste like salmon. It tasted like how whitefish taste, where it feels translucent when you're eating it, but still had that savoriness of a salmon. Yeah, we really enjoyed those two nigiris in particular. The experience that I had at Kinzo, where it was one-on-one with the chef, and you could tell that he was so passionate about every single dish, and he taught us a lot about every single fish, where it came from, how they caught it, why he paired that with the yuzu or whatever what the fish was dressed with, if it was dressed with something like a sauce or a topping like fried ginger or caviar or whatever. There was a reason behind everything. And I like when chefs talk about that, but Chef Jimmy was really nice, and you could tell that he's very clearly passionate when he did explain something. I just wish that there was more of that, but also understand like you are serving 12 people. But yeah, I wouldn't say that Shoyo has made my list of top omakases. I would still rank Kawa as number one, Kinzo as number two, and then omakase at home or omakase to go that Peter had set up at our house for my birthday. Amazing. And then I'd probably put Shoyo at number four. Omakase aside though, it was 5 years from Peter and I, which is such a special moment. When I look back at our relationship, we are completely different people than who we were when we started the relationship, which I think is the most beautiful thing, because in life you are supposed to change and grow, right? That's the whole point of life, not to still be that person that you were. And for us to be growing in our own ways and then continuing to choose each other over the course of the 5 years, constantly learning new things about each other, learning new preferences, understanding one another, and just everything that we went through. We definitely had our moments of disagreements or just not understanding each other, or even times where we drifted apart in certain aspects and didn't have the understanding. But that's part of growth, that's part of change. And the most beautiful part of our relationship is that like we grew individually and then we grew together as a couple once we were able to understand each other. And I just have so much confidence and faith in our relationship that we'll continue to do that. We built such a strong foundation for our relationship. And I'm just super excited for the next step this year, now that we're both in a financial spot where we can move on to that next step and get engaged this year. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it is going to happen. It's part of the plan. Everyone always asks, like, and that was something that I really struggled with, is people constantly asking, like, so when are you guys getting married? When is he proposing? And things like that. And we both knew that we weren't ready to take that step yet because we still had growing to do individually and then together. And like, I'm super grateful for us taking the time to do that and not putting the pressure until we were both fully ready, financially ready, and we're going to be together for the rest of our lives. Yeah, I'm very excited for this year. And in a few years, we'll get married and then have kids. And it's crazy because when you first start dating, you're like, what's 5 years from now going to look like? And it's 5 years now. And now we're like looking 5 to 10 more years into the future. And we're both just so excited. He's going to be such a great husband, a great dad. Like, I can totally, from the very first moment that I met him, actually, I knew like this is a man. And by man, I mean he could be the father of my kids. I could see that from the moment we met because he has these characteristics in him that again, like the universe gives you what you deserve and not just what you ask for. Like, I didn't have a healthy view on, or I didn't have like a healthy relationship growing up. My parents got divorced and they're not on speaking terms. That kind of tells you a lot. And the relationship between my mom and stepdad also was not really healthy. And so, yes, I had high standards for what I wanted, but Eve raised the bar. And I didn't think it was possible because I already had such high standards because I have high standards for myself. So I have those same standards for my partner. But again, like he raised the bar. Like, one thing that he did when we first started dating was he would just communicate to me when he was doing something, where he was doing it at. Like, if he, I don't know, just he'll text me like, oh, just got to the gym. And I didn't ask to know his whereabouts. Like, that's not really something that not that like I don't care to know, but it was like, I don't, I don't know how to word it. It's nice to just have that level of communication. And he's honestly taught me that too. Like, it is just a nice thing to be super communicative with one another. He's also just the most loyal person that I could ever think of. And loyalty was not really on my bingo cards. Yes, faithful, but loyal to the point where I will literally die for you. I will literally kill someone for you. Like, that is the type of loyal that Peter is. And I feel very protected because of that. I know that if anybody were to try to hurt me, like, he would always have my back. And again, I love that quality in him. It's not something that I originally was. My non-negotiables were respectful. I'm not going to get into that. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, just he really raised the bar for me. And also for my friends, I think they see the way that he treats me. I'm just so grateful for the past 5 years together. Been able to grow as a person because of him, and I've never felt more safe and secure in our relationship and just myself in general. I feel so protected. I've never felt this way in a relationship before. And I think back to, when we first fell in love and to the love that I feel today, it's so different. He loves me. He loved me when I was literally making nothing. And today I'm just so proud of both of us and how far we've come in our lives, in our career, in our mental health, spiritual, fitness, everything. And the life that we're building together makes me so happy every time I think about it. So, happy first day of spring. Oh, yeah! I can't believe I almost forgot, but I paid off all of my credit card debt. This is like 38,000 in credit card debt and like another 11,000 that went into paying interest and interest fees. So I'm so happy that that's finally paid off and I've reached my financially free goal. That was a huge moment for me, and I rewarded myself with buying this vanity, which I'm so happy about because now I have a space to sit down and it's my designated space to get ready and feel beautiful and just really pour back into myself now that I can afford it. I will be back next week. There's a lot more that I want to talk about, especially in the age of AI. I want to share my thoughts on what I think is the most important right now, and what you could do to further yourself and just really put yourself in a position of high leverage so that you are open to as many opportunities in the future as possible. We cannot predict what the next few years will look like, but I do think there are very crucial skills. Bye! Coda and I will see you guys next week. Right? Mommy kiss. Mommy kiss. Kiss! Wow, Coda, I knew it. I knew you were gonna steal my spot. Can mommy sit? Okay. All right. One of my best friends, she got me this lip glow oil from Dior, and that's what Coda's trying to lick off of me right now. Oh my god, Coda, a bunny just flew by.